Welcome to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast. We believe life is about how we react. Hello, thanks for tuning in. My name is Sean, and I am happy you're here. Thank you. Kyle,
I'm here.
You're here as well. Kyle, I've got to tell you, to start our day, we are way off our normal schedule.
Yeah.
You know, it's a Sunday, so we're connecting, but normally for me, on the West Coast, it's Sunday morning, but we are connecting right now Sunday afternoon for several reasons. But last night, after work, I realized, I need gas in my car. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, I'm way too tired. It's been a long week. Yeah. I'll just do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I come straight home after work. I shower, wind down. I want to get to bed early. Well, I get out today, and I have plans to meet friends for brunch, friends I haven't seen since pre-COVID. So I kind of forgot that I needed gas. So I didn't
look at your dashboard on the way or anything?
Well, I mean, I had forgotten I needed gas before I got in the car.
Okay, got it.
So by the time I got in the car, I realized, oh, shoot, that's right. But you know what? I don't have time. I don't want to take that time. I'm just going to go to my friends.
Oh, man.
And we did the whole thing. And then, of course, it's been a couple years, so we had lots of catch up on. We had such a great time. And then I realized, I need to hit the road soon because Kyle and I are connecting at a weird time. So then I get in the car and I realize again, oh shoot, I still need gas. But now I don't have time. You know, it's almost bedtime for Kyle. I just need to get home and record. So right this minute, my car dash monitor, whatever you want to call it, display said, okay, I have 30 miles to empty, 20 miles to empty. And then I've never seen it get that low. But it doesn't go any lower
than 20.
Now it just, on the way home, it just went from 20 to blinking dash marks.
Oh my gosh, dude.
I've never been this low. So there's a part of me that's a little nervous. I'm just fingers crossed that I have enough to get me from my house to the nearest gas station.
Oh my gosh.
When we're done.
Jeez. Well, for the record, Sean, just stop for gas next time when you're late to a recording appointment.
Yeah, I think I'll be fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, all right. It's going to be a really good story if
I run out of gas.
So
you're right. I'm not the kind of person to call AAA. If I'm only a couple miles, like I will get my walker out and I will start walking.
Oh.
But I'm not sure if I'm still that kind. Like I don't know if I would do that.
No,
it's been a long time since I've had to walk on the side of the road.
Yeah, dude. And then when you get there, what are you? You just buy a gas can and
just buy a small gas can and walk back. I don't know.
Have fun. That is going to be a really good story.
Yeah. Thank you. Speaking of stories, we've had one that unfortunately has been sticking around this entire season.
Yeah.
Where are we at with your wheelchair? There's been one thing after another. Update us. Where are we at?
Yeah, they delivered one that was too big, but then, so a month later, they got a new one, and bingo, delivered the correct chair, and I've been using it for several weeks now, and it's wonderful.
So, are you telling me everything is resolved? Because we know a while back you've got your reimbursement check, right, for that. So that was good. And now you've got your new wheelchair, and that's the right model, the right size. Everything is fixed.
There's one last lingering thing.
Oh, no.
There was a repair that I needed on the replacement that I bought originally, right? So the wheel model F, there's a little wire on the bottom that came loose, and it needs this little nut. And
Don't we
It
all?
completely stopped one time I was flying to Sacramento and it would not start. The wheelchair wouldn't turn on at all. So finally we figured out it was this little wire in the bottom and there's a little nut broken. So they are going to come out and fix that. It's sort of Band-Aid fixed right now and it's been fine. But anyway, stupid. That's the last thing.
Is that a airline issue?
Yeah, because it was damaged after a flight. So I'm using Global Repair Group again.
Okay.
That one.
So we're talking about it sounds like two different issues.
Yeah.
But
well, it was two
both
different
airline
chairs.
based.
Right.
Two different chairs, both airline issues. And this all started in March or April?
Yeah, April. Yeah.
Of 2022, and here we are. It's Halloween.
Yep.
2022. Okay,
So hopefully we'll get it done by the end of the year.
Fingers crossed. I've said it before. It's sad to me that too many of our listeners can relate.
Yep. Absolutely.
Kyle, I also wanted to ask you before we get into guess what? We had Adam Bremen on the show last week. Keto Crisp Bars, the Can Do brand. They sent us samples, incredibly kind of them. I just got mine out of the P.O. box the other day, so I haven't tasted them yet. But I know you got some, you bought some.
Right.
Tell the listeners what your feedback is on.
I already ate a whole box, which is, I think, 12.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
I started on the ones they just sent. And so, anyway, I do really like them. They're very tasty. And I had a few with my coffee in the morning, and that was really good. A nice low-carb way to start the day quick, too, right? Like, just do it and jump in the car. I also sent a box to our friend Andra, who has a rare disease called lipodystrophy, and she finds a lot of benefit when she follows a pretty strict keto diet. I don't think she does it 100%, but when she does, she feels good. So I sent her a box, and I just heard she loves them too. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Very cool. Obviously, they've got a good thing going on. So a reminder to our listeners, Adam offered a discount code, and you can find that in our show notes. All right, Kyle, it's been a few weeks. I am ready to play a game. This season, we've been calling it Guess What? All right, the way this game works, Kyle chose an item. I have an item in my head. We're both gonna give each other 7 questions to ask to help guess the item in mind. Kyle, you came online today with your item already in mind. I feel like you are ready to go. So I'm gonna let you start with my clue.
All right. So my clue is the same exact clue that you used on me last time. It is temporarily on my desk.
Now I've got to ask 7 questions to narrow it down.
Exactly. Yeah.
It is temporarily on your desk. All right, here we go. Is it for somebody else?
No.
Oh, by the way, these questions are supposed to be yes or no for a listener's sake. Is this item edible?
No.
That took way too long to answer. Now I'm just... Are you not supposed to eat it? Do some people eat it and shouldn't? Like, that's crazy. Okay, not edible. Do you need it in conjunction with something else? I guess, do you have to use it in conjunction with something else?
No.
Okay. Is it something you might keep elsewhere in the house?
Yes.
Is it a kitchen item or a common kitchen item?
Not necessarily.
That's 5. Is it an item used for entertainment?
No.
I don't know where I'm going with that, but
You're grasping.
I really am. I have no idea right now.
All right. Before you ask your 7th and final question,
Okay.
I want to clarify the second question that you asked. And the reason I took so long to answer it is because the item itself is not edible. However, the stuff inside is.
Okay. So, I'm just thinking out loud. Obviously, no question to answer. I say kitchen item because I thought, okay, maybe a coffee mug. But you say not necessarily. If it's a glass or a cup, I mean, I don't know anybody else would decline that or define that as not a kitchen item. So, is it dirty right now?
Dirty is a relative term, and it is in the eye of the beholder. You might call it dirty right now. I wouldn't.
Okay. All right. It's is your item some sort of dish that you eat out of?
Some sort of.
If I have to land on something specific, I'm gonna go with a bowl. Is it a bowl?
No.
Dang it! All right. Let me
All
know.
right, here it is. It is a water bottle.
Oh. All right. That's fair. Not necessarily a kitchen item. You
Right,
take it.
and
yeah. Okay.
The item is not edible. Like, how would you have answered that?
I
Is
would have
it
said
edible?
no. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. I appreciate the clarification. You got me in the right space.
All right.
All right. My clue for you, Kyle.
Yes.
We've, early on, we always ask, is it electronic or something of that nature? I'm going to start with, it is electronic.
It is electronic.
Yep.
Is it always on your desk?
No. Well,
So would you
Let
say
me take
it's
that back.
temporarily on your desk?
for our listener's sake, the item that we bring up has to be in view, right? So on your desk or in the area. And this particular item for me does not live on my desk, but where it's at, it is always there. So really the answer should be yes.
And it's in view, not on
in
your
view.
desk. Okay.
I feel like I gave you
And
way
it's
more than I
electronic.
should've. Yep.
Does it plug into the wall?
Yes.
Do you use it by itself, or does it serve? Does it need something else to be operational? Like you, that was one of your questions that I'm stealing.
Yes.
See, you took a long time to answer that, but you may have been just acting.
Yeah. Just trying to throw you off.
Does it have a cord?
Yes.
So, in this game, does it end once you guess, or if you guess wrong, do you get the 2 other questions?
That's a fair question. We've not laid that rule out. I'm inclined to give you a total of 7 questions, even if you guess in the middle.
All right, let's say that a guess counts as a question.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
Is it a charging cord?
No. 2 more.
Is it a necessity as opposed to a luxury?
I would say no. Not necessary.
Okay.
Maybe not a super high priority. Is a better way to say it.
Okay. That doesn't tell me anything, but
This game is ridiculous.
yeah. So, last question. Does it make you... I have no idea. Does it make you feel good?
Oh, yeah. Certainly.
Is it a massage gun? That's
Wow. It's only funny because it's nothing like a massage gun. And in my head, it's not even close. But I get it. You're coming in completely blind. No, it's not a massage gun. It doesn't make me feel good in that
physically.
manner. I'll give you, I'm going to give you another hint.
Okay.
Let me clarify that question. It does make me feel good in the manner of peace of mind.
I mean, that narrows it down to like 25 things. I don't know. I'm thinking of something that is on the ground, like next to your bed or something. Like peace of mind. I don't know.
I need to use my phone in conjunction with this item. So it is sort of app-based, if you will.
I have no idea. Alexa.
And gives me peace of
Amazon
mind.
Echo. I don't know. Peace
Close.
of mind? No, I have no idea.
All right.
But
fair.
I do really want to know what it is.
Just to give some context, I'm sharing a house with people, right? I'm just renting space in this season of life. So I have a camera set up in my room that faces the main entry area of the room, just to help keep an eye on things when I'm out of town or not here.
All right. It's like a security camera. So do you have to like review the footage, or does it tell you when there's movement, or like how does that work?
Both. You can review, but no, I've got notifications set up, so it alerts me anytime there's movement or activity. But the camera, it's a smart camera, and it can identify whether it's a change in lighting or a person walks by. So it just kind of alerts me, and I've never needed to lean on it. I'll give a little bit of background.
Yeah,
just because now everybody's probably nervous about where I live or who I live with. Everybody here is great. People, the owners, everything, we all get along. Everything's fantastic. But because it's a large home and several of the rooms are rented out, there was one particular time, a few months after I moved in, the owners, landlords, were interviewing individuals that were wanting to move in. And there was just one individual I happened to cross paths with for 2 minutes. Every instinct in my body that said that's not a good person alerted.
Yeah.
And I went straight to my room and ordered that night.
Like, did you feel like they were gonna murder you in a second?
No, just more not trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, that was a gut reaction, right? I don't know. I don't even know their name. If I saw them at the gas station, I probably couldn't tell you. Oh, that's it. Like I wouldn't recognize him from Adam or Moses. But I just remember thinking, this is where I live.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be cautious.
So with this camera, can you see it real time on your phone?
Yeah.
Can you talk to, does it have a speaker
in
the room?
Actually.
All right.
Yep.
Wow. Yep. I locked myself out of my apartment, so I went over to a friend's place, and they were not home, but I heard their voice, and I looked up, and it was their security camera.
That's right. Weren't they at breakfast or something?
Yeah, and they came home.
I
and
remember
opened the door.
that.
It was so nice.
I remember that. That's crazy. Speaking of this, I got the same camera set up for my mom, and it's been incredibly helpful, at least on 2 occasions. There have been 2 times where she was really ill and not paying attention to her phone for a good 7 or 8 days. Like, it was several days. And then most recently, she had unintentionally, I think, blocked me as a caller. So my texts weren't coming through. She wasn't getting my voicemails. She has security cameras, and then we have this one cyber camera. And I just looked in. I wasn't worried because I could see she's moving about and in and out of the driveway, and everything appeared to be fine. But it had been a good week recently where she's probably wondering where I'm at or why I'm not calling. So I kind of kept an eye on her for throughout the day. And when I knew she was at home and in a quiet space, maybe eating dinner or something without the TV on, I just started yelling through the camera, "Mom, Mom, Mom." And she had a cousin there. And she was like, "Elaine, I'm hearing a voice." And then she came to the camera, and I'm like, "Call me. Something's wrong with your phone." So she called me, and I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" She goes, "No, my phone's fine." But turns out she blocked me.
Wow.
She had no idea that.
That's kind of cool. Jeez, yeah. I want to get a little walkie-talkie like that for some of my friends,
yeah.
right?
She, obviously on their end, she couldn't see me, but I could see that everything was fine on her end, and I didn't have to worry or call the ambulance or cops or anything, but that's why we got it. It's just in case, now that she's widowed, if something were to happen, and maybe her phone's not in reach, it'd be tough for anybody to know. So, anyway, that's...
I never would have guessed security camera.
I
your
understand.
bedroom. Yeah.
Good. Because I feel like you've done better at this game than I have. So whatever I can do to keep you from racking up points. Kyle, there's been something brewing on my mind that I want to talk about just a little bit as the main subject matter of this episode, if you will. And that's a principle that I've adopted in my personal life from work. At Nugget, you know, and listeners know, I help with new hire orientation and training. And for those that didn't know, Nugget Market is one of the top 100 companies to work for, according to Fortune magazine. And we've been on that list for 17 years, and I've only been there for 13. I've been training for 6. And I'm certainly privileged to be a part of that team that kind of sets the foundation, right, for anybody coming into our company. And the specific principle that I'm talking about right now is a core value, and it's an acronym, and we proudly refer to it as RAVE, RAVE. And that stands for, for us, it stands for respect, appreciate, value, everyone. Which essentially is saying it doesn't matter who they are, where they come from, what they have or don't have, how they vote, how they pray, etc. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we're a grocery store, and everybody needs groceries. So somebody's story doesn't matter. If they're willing to do business with us, we're happy to sell them our groceries, right? Or they want to come work for us. So that's kind of the context. And the reason why this has been on my mind quite a bit is because it's campaign season. It's a big midterm election, right? A lot of things are changing of the guard, or at least things are up in the air right now across the United States. Voting for governors, senators, Congress, all those different things. And in my ways of trying to explain it, I often refer to politics. And that, in my opinion, is the one area in society where we, as especially Americans, probably true across the globe, where we just are lacking in the arena of respect and appreciation for everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And I often think about candidates. It's rare, in my opinion, to hear somebody get up on a microphone or in front of a camera and say, "Hey, my name is Kyle Bryant. I'm running for this office, and here's what I'm going to bring to the table, X, Y, and Z. Vote for me.
Right.
Instead, what we hear most often is, hey, I'm Kyle Bryant. I'm running for this position, and I'm way better than Sean because X, Y, or Z.
Right.
And it turns into a mud flinging competition, right? And where all we do is hate on each other. And my gut reaction is, well, that's the way it's got to be, apparently. But there's no respect there. So I just kind of want to lay the foundation with talking about this concept of rave and maybe promoting that a bit where we all adopt that. And we have nothing to do with Nugget, but man, that's such an important principle that applies to every area and every aspect of life.
Yeah. It works because people react to it, right? Like the negative campaigning. Yeah. And what I was thinking about when you suggested this topic was, I feel like in order to operate in the understanding and respectful way, we have to be 100% prepared for the other side to win. Like, we have to imagine a world where their idea is livable, superior, is fine, is okay. Yep. And there are some topics in politics where some people are like, no way. There is no way I can go on living one more day if this thing is this way or whatever.
And I'm with you. That makes a lot of sense. And I do want to be careful, and you know this. We're not a political podcast, We don't want, it's funny, as I was emailing you the concept, in my email I said, talking about this, I brought up politics and religion. And in my head, I'm like, wait a minute, at the dinner table, these are the two things that everybody says don't bring up.
Right.
I think it just helps give some context as to where the rubber meets the road, right? It's really easy for you and I to respect each other because we have a lot in common. We see the world very similarly in a lot of ways. But we see it way different than a woman might see it. We see it way different than a different upbringing or a different religion. And that's where it might get a little sticky. And I think you make a valid point. If we have to be prepared to be wrong.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
And that's not easy.
Yeah. And you don't have to think you're wrong, but you have to be able to live with a different perspective. So you don't have to compromise your own values while still recognizing that other people think differently.
Right. And I think that's the principle for which rave comes from, right? Rave is not at all suggesting that one party is right and the other is wrong. It's saying we're all going to have different opinions. We all need to respect those opinions and appreciate the perspective that everybody brings to the table, right? There shouldn't be a need for people to feel and be right.
Yeah.
What there should be, and this is true across humanity, there should be an openness and a willingness to debate, to argue, to help each other understand our perspectives, and at the end of the day, room to still be friends. Maybe disagree, that's fine, but at least respect where the other party is coming from.
So, Sean, outside of politics that we see on TV and witness all the time, can you give us a real-life example of having seen this played out, a good or bad one?
Sure. I witnessed it a lot even at Starbucks. As a consumer, at Nugget we call them guests, but customer, client, whatever you want. I ordered a drink, and it was made wrong. I pointed that out, and the person said, oh, shoot, sorry, let me make you a new one. That second one was made wrong. Mm-hmm. So instead, I was in the drive-thru. I got out of the drive-thru because now I'm starting to feel bad, right? Everybody behind me is like, what the heck? Guy, get out of here.
Yeah.
So I park, and I have time, so I decide to walk in and just deal with it at the counter. There's a little more flexibility, probably more people that can help, right? So I walk in and I go to that pickup area, and I just hold the drink up, and now it's a different partner, and I tell her, like, hey, I just came through the drive-thru, and this drink is missing the cream or whatever it was. And she basically looked at me kind of with what I interpreted as a bit of a huff and puff and said, well, did you order it correctly?
Oh,
like,
man.
As if it was my fault that the drink was wrong.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, Kyle, I kept my cool.
Wow.
And in my head, I'm like, what a ridiculous question. Like, yes, look, it's even showed it's on the sticker. Like, somebody didn't read the sticker.
Yeah.
So she was like, okay, fine. Do you want a new one, or you just want me to put it on the side?
Wow.
Ultimately, I don't care. Whatever you think is best. All right, well, all right, I guess I'll make you a new one. Okay. So it was just an extreme response to a mistake.
Right.
And in that instance, I don't know what kind of day she is. So out of respect for her, I can't get on here and bash and say she was totally wrong. I do think that she was out of line, and that was not the appropriate response to a paying customer. But I also don't know what happened 5 minutes before I got there. Right. Did somebody chew her out? Did her boss just say, okay, one more warning? Did her boyfriend just break it? Who knows? Not that any of that should matter, but it does. We're all humans.
Right.
We all react to the things going on in our lives a little bit differently. So that was an example of, in that moment, she wasn't respecting me.
Right.
And there was a huge lack of rave. And at Nugget, when we talk about those high-maintenance individuals or those guests that might cross the line or be difficult to deal with, it ultimately doesn't matter. Everybody deserves respect. And Kyle, I'm reminded of an interview we did a long time ago. I don't remember the episode number, but we can link it in their show notes. I remember the guy's name is Arash, and he suffered a spinal cord injury. He fell off a balcony of a building or something, was trying to get into a window because he lost his keys or whatever. And now he's in a wheelchair and all kinds of issues. But I remember him specifically talking about respect and the way his mother raised him and the way he talked about it. I'm paraphrasing, but the way he talked about it was, there's never a time where it's okay to be rude to another human. You can disagree, you can be honest and clear, but it's never okay to be a jerk. And that supports rave. Even if they cut you off in traffic, even if they are way out of line, it's okay to be upset. It's okay to let them know, hey, you're not being fair or whatever. But it's not okay to start calling them names. It's not okay to push them around. It's never okay to, in my opinion, it's not okay to flip them the bird. Although those kinds of reactions certainly might feel good in the moment, right?
Yeah, but also, how do you feel afterwards, right? You always think of how you acted, and you're like, all right, I probably wouldn't admit this to my mother.
Could have done better. Yeah, right? Exactly. And, I'm also thinking of that phrase, kill them with kindness, right?
Yeah.
There's that whole sentiment of you just smile and nod, or still do whatever their promise was, still do the right thing. And then later on, in the moment, you might hate doing it, but months down the road or days or weeks, whatever, that they're probably going to realize, wow, I was a jerk, but he was still kind to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's going to end up going further down the road.
I agree.
I'll tell you another story just for the fun of it, Kyle. I just saw this the other day. I was traveling I don't know how all airlines do it, but Southwest specifically, if you need to pre-board or you need to gate check a chair or a stroller or whatever it may be, you have to go to the full service counter upon check-in. Give them your luggage and show them the mobility device, so on. And then on the boarding pass, they add a pre-board permission or note. And then when you go to the gate, it's right there on your boarding pass. Every now and then, at least what I've experienced at other airlines too, if you don't have that classification on your boarding pass, the gate agent typically makes you wait in line and board with your group. And in my opinion, that's a bit extreme, especially when the disability or the reason for pre-boarding is obvious, when it's visible. So the other day I was traveling and we were about to board, and you could tell the couple that I'm referring to, they were probably flustered. Maybe they were running late, I don't know. But the woman kind of ran up to the gate and was like, "Hey, sorry, we just got here, but my husband needs to but we need to pre-board." And the gate agent was like, "God, let us here." Anyway, they didn't have that classification on the boarding pass. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, get in the back of the line, lady. Because she was fine. And I'm like, why? And then she kept pointing and referring to her husband. And I noticed the gate agent was like, "All right, let me see here. Okay, let's talk." And they first, anyway, there was hesitation, but they never told them, the passenger, that they did it wrong. They never told them they have to wait. And at one point, I turned around and I saw the individual in question had 2 prosthetic legs. He was very short, so it was obvious, and a service animal. So, of course, with Southwest, their concern was getting up front where they had a little bit of extra room for the service dog. So as soon as that turbine I saw, then I'm like, oh, yeah, no questions asked. This guy needs to pre-board.
Right.
Like, I didn't even hesitate. And I witnessed this agent have the same response. At first, I think there may have been some like, oh, wait a minute. But more of I feel like he was probably new, and he wasn't sure if he could kind of work out of the boundaries. But it was obvious that he was never rude. He was never short. He was never said, "Oh, well, you have to go back." He was just, "Oh, yeah, let me ask." And he got help, and these folks pre-boarded. And everything worked out just fine. But I also think about times in the past where I've flown other airlines, and they weren't that flexible or forgiving.
That's what I was going to say, is that I bet Southwest has something like RAVE, right? Some principle
I imagine
that they all buy into, and because I agree with you, I've seen and been a part of so many more positive interactions on Southwest than on some other airlines, right?
Right. 100%.
You know what this conversation is saying to me, as far as a takeaway, is that it's so important to write those things down, to have that touch point of RAVE or whatever it is to go back to be like, you know what, this is what we believe in, right, and this is how we're going to operate. And I see it, at FARA, we've got a quote from Ron Bartek that says, "Acting alone, there's very little we can accomplish. Acting together, there's very little we won't accomplish." And there's little things like that you go back to as touch points for how to operate as a person, either at work or just in life as well. And so I really think those things are really powerful.
Yeah, it's your home base, right? It's something you can always look back to and say, okay, if I act in this manner or if I make this decision, is it going to align with the belief I defined as important to me 10 years ago or 3 or when I started this project? And that's incredibly important, right? We're going to talk next week for 200. We're celebrating. We're going to highlight some of the objectives we lined out in the beginning. And after 5 or 6 years, sure, a lot of things change, but those things keep us grounded and moving in the direction we believe is the best direction that company or our brand or this podcast can go. So I certainly believe it's an important aspect to a successful life and, of course, a successful brand. So for those listeners that maybe don't have a specific mantra or principle, I think you made a good point, Kyle.
Borrow it from somebody else and refer back to it. If something strikes you, right, you can put that on your wall and refer back to it.
Speaking of adopting from the people, I do want to share a quote that's a favorite of mine. Bill Nye says, and I'm paraphrasing, "Everyone you will ever meet knows something you don't." In fact, that might actually be word for word. In other words, everybody knows something, which means everybody else can learn something. Yeah. And if we go into every conversation or every, campaign or every interview or whatever it is you're doing, every tough situation, knowing that, okay, you actually could learn something from that upset person or that issue, I think we're going to have better conversations. It's going to be a better place to raise a family and live.
Yep, I like that because it promotes respect, appreciation, value for everyone.
Exactly. Well, Kyle, I think we've nailed this one pretty well. I'm excited not only to wrap up this particular episode, but to be just 1 week away from episode 200.
Jeez.
We're hitting that 200 mark just a few weeks prior to our 6-year anniversary. So I'm excited to share some highlights. I'm excited that you and I are still friends 6 years later. Because there's been a few times we disagree.
Yeah. But we have respect, appreciation, and value for each other. So
Exactly. Well, Kyle, let's wrap this up. Like always, our listeners know that Kyle and I both believe it's important to end with a little bit of gratitude and to share a thank you note. So, Kyle, I'll let you share first who you're saying thank you to.
My thank you note goes out to our friend Tom Bradley. And Sean, you know Tom because you've been on his boat in Tampa. He does a boat trip for all FA families that come down to the Farah Energy Ball every year. And he did it once again a couple weeks ago, and it was so much fun and just a way for everyone to get together. And as we know, community is so important. We talk about that all the time. He's helping build that community within the FA community. And I just really appreciate him for that. You know what? I will throw this in too. He was on the bike trip that we did this summer, and I had so much fun with him. And he's just an adventurer and a community builder, and I really appreciate Tom Bradley.
Yes, certainly. I've said the same thing, an incredible person who's obviously selfless. I echo your thank you note. I'm saying thank you to a dear friend. Her name is Megan. Megan and I used to work together years ago, and I got to hang out with her recently after almost 3 years. We don't work together anymore, and normally we do a holiday party and we get together every Christmas at a party, but the last opportunity for that was, for me, a broken femur, and then 2 years of COVID. And she's got a little son and very sensitive and cautious with COVID. So I literally haven't seen them in almost 3 years and had a fantastic time at brunch and mimosas and just playing games. We were at their house and just connecting and hearing all the stories that come with raising a 6-year-old who was 6 last time I saw him and now is 9.
Jeez.
So just very, cool. It did my heart good to connect with them. So, Megan, thank you for being our dear friend and an incredible host. Of course, if you're enjoying the show, we'd appreciate it if you share it with others. You never know when somebody else might need to hear an encouraging word or a challenging thought that might come from this show. Be sure to visit our show notes on our website at twodisableddudes.com or use your favorite podcast app for links to some of the things mentioned today. We look forward to sharing episode 200 with you next week. Until then, keep living with urgency.
Thank you for listening to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast. This show is possible with your support. Visit twodisableddudes.com to donate.
Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app.